I took a really circuitous route. I was a young man that grew up during the Vietnam War, and that was a very unpopular war, so I decided I think I'm going to go to college and get a deferment. Because I had no idea what I was going to be doing with my life, probably not too dissimilarly to you guys, even though I'm sure a lot of parents have told you what you should be doing. And I needed to put myself through college. I went to PMC, which then became Widener University. I'm a Delaware County boy. I don't know if any of you from Delaware County, but you don't wander too far from Delaware County if you grew up in the Philadelphia area. So grade school, high school, college. I had to work for a Delaware County company too, a company called Wawa. And it was a very small company when I started. I think they had about 14 convenience stores. They were really into milk, manufacturing of milk, home delivery, those type of things. And the owner of the company came to me one night as I was a teamster, making good money, put myself through college, and a small Quaker gentleman took his glasses off and said, "I understand you're a college boy." And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Well, we're going to be getting out of home delivery." And I'm thinking, oh boy, and this is how I'm putting myself through college. He's telling me I'm out of a job. No, that's not what he was telling me. He was telling me that he was putting me in a job. He actually brought me into the office and put me and a few other folks to be responsible for opening up these neat little things called convenience stores, of which they were really dairy shops back then. Over the course of the 70s and the early 80s, I was fortunate enough to get real lucky. I realized that the consumers were starting to travel a lot. They were starting to commute. The traditional working manufacturing was disappearing, albeit not such great news, I don't think, but nonetheless, that was the trend. And so more people out on the road, more people needing products. And I talked to our team about sustaining our company. Sustaining might have meant some different things back then than it means today to you. Sustaining back then was figuring out how we go from delivering milk at home to sustaining our business, keeping people employed, and figuring out how to create a new model to sell our products. So Wawa Food Markets developed out of the old Wawa Dairy, Turner Westcott Dairy. And one of the products that I stumbled upon, and I may say it wasn't my idea to put coffee in convenience stores. Maybe it was, but I'm not going to take credit for it. I'm going to give credit to a store manager who was real close to one of our, you know how in Philly there's many train stations. Well, we were close to one of the train stations at his store. So he was purchasing coffee and selling it and giving it to his customers just as really a customer service. And I thought, wow, if there's people that are interested in getting coffee and they're commuting on trains, this was in Abington, Pennsylvania, which was the first store that had coffee. I said, maybe there's some opportunity here. So we gave John, the manager, the opportunity to have a real coffee section. Guess what happened? It sold. So my message to you on that is, don't think that you have all the right answers. Keep your eyes open. A lot of other people have the right answers, and if, you know, marketing guys and the accounting guys, just keep your eyes open and, you know, watch what the hard workers are out there doing, and you'll learn some things. That might be the hallmark for what I believe sustainability is. I think sustainability is, and you have to look at sustainability through many different prisms, but one is, it's a very personal thing. It's very high touch. We need to understand that we as a community, whether we think about it on the earth or whether we think about it in a local community, the interaction that we have with each other and the support that we have with each other actually is a foundational element of sustainability. Because if we do work with other people, if we care about other people, we'll give them an opportunity to grow. And if they grow, and it's truly what is in their heart and in their minds and in their culture, they'll take care of it because they want to pass it down multi-generationally. So if you can pass something down multi-generationally, sounds pretty sustainable. If you can survive and pass it down, that sounds pretty sustainable. And if we take care of the biosphere, we will, because that's the nature of the beast. Who wakes up in the morning and says, geez, I want to destroy my car this morning, or I want to destroy my business this morning? We don't. We just make mistakes along the way that cause that destruction. I think part of that destruction is a function of us not working together. So there's so many different students here in different classes. That is so encouraging for me. And as I started this morning, I said that's what makes me smile. Different walks of life: marketing, nuclear science, accounting, sociology. Everybody working as a team, collaborating, is what's going to make us, as a culture, as a planet, sustainable. The owner of Wawa passed away of cancer, and I kind of lost that personal touch that I needed as a person to function. Money is, you need it to survive, but it's not really the primary thing that any of us really want. I guarantee you, when you're in your 60s and you look back, you're going to say money was something that helped you get to where you are. It's just a tool. It's not the measurement. You'll look back and you'll say, wow, I could have done so much more. Or you'll look back and you'll say, wow, I did so much. If you look back and say, wow, I did so much, I think you're going to feel fulfilled. So Graham Wood taught me that feeling. And when he passed away back in 1985, I kind of got lost. I didn't want to work for a corporation any longer. So now my path starts to turn again. Truck driver, marketing guy. Now I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Okay, I think I can handle that. Yeah, right. Entrepreneurs, by the way, if any of you want to be one, I think the definition of that is you're the last one that gets paid. That's what an entrepreneur is. Pay everybody else first. You got to take care of everybody else. But you know what? At the end of the day, very gratifying. 1986, 2013, so I guess I like it. It's my second job after Wawa, so it's working out for me. So far, sustainable. What do? I start a business, right? What business? Isn't that what you're all going to ask yourself? What do I want to do? Well, I understood coffee as an agricultural product, so I figured, it's still growing. It was really at the very early days of that company called Starbucks, figuring out how to make a 15-cent cup of coffee be worth $4. Like, wow. Now that's marketing. So I figured, let me focus on coffee. That seems to be a product category. If you're a fisherman, you're probably going to go and fish where they fish. As an agricultural product, does anybody know that coffee is the #1 produced agricultural product on the planet? You may be surprised at that. That is actually true. There's only one other product that's sold at a greater rate than coffee on the planet, and that's petroleum. And we're running out of that. That doesn't sound sustainable to me. A lot of our financial problems today can be pointed back to petroleum. Unfortunately, some of our financial problems are pointing back to coffee, too. And I'll get onto that in a minute, because I'm still taking this circuitous route to getting here today. So, coffee. What do? Food service. Sell a cup. Sounds like a good idea. There's a lot of companies that are trying to figure out how to satisfy unfulfilled consumer needs, and one of them was giving in a day part. Now I'm getting into fancy marketing stuff, But the day part purchasing occasion of the AM, Wawa, McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, a couple of companies, many, many more throughout the United States, where they're trying to figure out how to satisfy consumer needs. I was lucky enough to understand coffee, so I consulted for all those companies, and it was very, very gratifying. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because you all know what happened with McDonald's and coffee and drive-thrus and Dunkin' Donuts and really good coffee, by the way, and Wawa's still continuing to grow and selling a lot of coffee. And that little company that Schultz started, Starbucks, not too bad. They're limping along as the #1 coffee retailer on the planet, so they seem to be figuring out how to sell a cup of coffee. I'm now spending a lot of time in Central and South America figuring out how to get these beans to roasters in the United States, roasting them, getting them to the retailers, and getting them to the consumer and a cup of coffee. About 6 years ago, actually an entire country contacted us. Go figure. A gentleman by the name of Hugo Chavez had one of his generals give us a call and asked if we would help consult for them to get back into the coffee business, because they had discovered oil and off their shore and let their coffee agriculture go to seed, so to speak, or kind of went to heck, fell apart. And as a political animal, he recognized that oil was a really great product that generated a tremendous amount of revenue, but there were people out there that were agricultural folks in the west of Venezuela that were starting to get a little bit unhappy. They just didn't want to be given money as proceeds. Go figure that, people just didn't want money. They wanted to actually earn something. So they wanted to get back into the coffee business. We said, sure, we'll help you. And so I went down to Venezuela and spent quite a bit of time down there helping them to identify the opportunity to get back into the coffee business. A couple of facts that you guys may not know that actually amaze me. Every time I say it, I have to check. So I'm checking. And I got to put glasses on because part of that circuitous route was my eyesight went. Okay. Did you know that annually, today, the coffee crop is producing 150 million pounds of organic coffee? Sound like a lot? Anybody? Does that sound like a lot? It does, doesn't it? You know what the total coffee crop is? Let me get this right, because it's a bunch. 20 billion pounds. That means that less than 1% of all the coffee grown in the world now is organic. That's pretty startling. What does that mean? It sounds scary, doesn't it? Because we think organic's good. Some of us do. It is scary because it changed my life. That fact changed my life. My job as Golden Valley Farms, before we became Golden Valley Farms Coffee Roasters, we were Golden Valley Farms Commodity Group. We bought coffee from all over the world. We sold coffee to all the big coffee companies. I created blends that you know and love and have probably tasted in your travels around the United States. That was our specialty. And over the last 20 years, it became increasingly difficult to make the coffee taste good. I started getting frustrated. Was I losing it? Was I losing touch? Did I forget some basic fundamental things about agriculture and coffee? Why wasn't it tasting as good as it used to? Well, here's why. Coffee, the agricultural plant, is a understory bush. It's part of the evergreen family. There are, it's what, the Cafea genus, I believe, for all of us botanists in the room. And the species, there are 6 or 7 different species of coffee bush, but the 2 primary that you guys have probably heard of are Robusta and Arabica. There are 4 or 5 other species. And then under the species, there are many types of tree in those species. So we have a pretty good diversity, right? Lots of wonderful coffee plants. Not so much. The mass production that started to occur in the early 80s, we started knocking down all the trees. Again, coffee is an understory agricultural plant. It's a bush. At its best, when it's thriving, it gets to be about 14 to 15 feet tall. Not really a very tall tree, so we're going to call it a bush. And the vast majority of coffee bushes are about 8 feet tall. Each coffee bush will produce anywhere from 3/4 of a pound of coffee on up to 2 pounds of coffee, depending on what agricultural processes you undertake. Kind of building up to the crescendo here. Get ready. Our technology, our geniuses, including me, figured we need to increase production. We can lower cost, significantly lower cost. If we knock down the trees, if we plant all these trees in little soldiers right next to each other, not having any other disturbances and any other competition for nutrients, and we just focus on the coffee tree, and we pick the best coffee tree for producing the biggest beans, the heaviest beans, since what do we sell it by? The pound. Okay? So you want the heaviest bean. If you're looking at how much does it cost, how much money can I make, that accounting function, we increased our production 3 to 4-fold. 99% of all the coffee now that's grown is grown in the fashion that I just talked about in 20, 30 years. How scary is that? Guess what happened? We knocked down the trees. What did we lose? The flora and the fauna. Did a great job. You know, if you want to destroy a biosphere, if you want to be the antithesis of sustainability, jump into the coffee business in the late 80s, 90s, and up into 2000, and even today. If you want to be irresponsible with sustainability, if you want to talk about short-term profits, if you want to talk about the stock value, get in the coffee business, because that's a great place. I'm sure a lot of you have heard, boy, you could get in a coffee cafe business. A pound of coffee yields 50 cups of coffee. You can buy a pound of coffee for $4. Wow, that's 8 cents a cup. I can sell it for $4. That's $3.92 a cup. That's pretty good profit. Yeah, it is, except that it's a fool's profit, because we don't have any coffee anymore. We really don't. It doesn't taste good. So I came back from Venezuela 6 years ago, and I said to my team, I don't think I want to do this anymore. It's virtually impossible. And my sister, who I dearly love and 9 years younger than me, said nothing's impossible. But I said it's virtually impossible for us to make a difference. Who are we? We're just a little company in Westchester. Yeah, we consult for the big companies, but they don't want to hear me tell them that they should be paying $4 a pound and buying coffee correctly because it's going to taste good. I can make it taste good by putting lots of sugar in it and lots of flavorings and lots of dairy products. We don't really need the coffee to taste good. The coffee's just fluid volume, that people kind of think tastes good. But, you guys, do you really like black coffee? Back when I started Wawa, 80% of all the coffee consumers drank their coffee black. My grandmother, who used to drink coffee by the pot, only black. You know what? It tasted good. It smelled good. It doesn't taste good or smell good today. Being a little negative, am I? Well, we didn't do a great job in our industry. So my sister talked me into staying on board and making a difference. I called all of our customers and I said to them, look, we've lost our way in the coffee business from an agricultural standpoint. Who wants to find their way with me? Because it's not an easy way. It's easy to knock a tree down. It's hard to plant it and grow it. When you destroy, and I'm calling it destroying today, and I'm allowed to do that because I'm in the industry, okay? You guys can't do that. You can't call it we've destroyed the coffee business. You can just say I said it. But we destroyed the coffee business because we destroyed the way it was grown. And we had to change the approach to how we marketed it. If you destroy the biosphere, and I believe that this issue can be translated to any other product, agricultural product, because if it works for the biggest, why can't it work for the smallest? You know, I'm not that smart, but I think it'll work. It takes 7 years to remediate soil because we've knocked down the trees. We've lost the flora and fauna. So what do we got to do? All the predators are gone. We have to use pesticides. All of the composting is gone and all the shade is gone. So we have to use herbicides because now the weeds are growing. Well, that's not good because it's competing for nutrients. There aren't any nutrients really in the soil today. Then we have to put lots of water in the soil. We might put some salts in to, get the seeds to absorb extra moisture. Let's be creative when we're in the process of creating weight. Let's do all kinds of clever things. Who cares about the taste? Because there's really no taste anymore. There's no bioflavonoids, there's no ketones, there's no antioxidants because there's nothing in the soil. Think about it. I mean, you all have been outside doing agriculture of one sort or another, I'm sure. It's a wonderful process. It kind of makes everybody feel a lot better when you look at something that grows and flourishes almost naturally. Well, how does it happen? It happens through the diversity of the nutrients. And at my late stage in life, in my early 50s, I finally realized that sustainability wasn't just keeping companies afloat and keeping employees employed, but it was creating the environment where they can deliver the same thing over and over and over again, not for 10 years, not for 20 years, not for 100 years, but forever. Who here, I'm dating myself, you guys are all young, but there was a thing called a Twinkie. It used to taste good. Yeah, there's a myth now that you can put a Twinkie and put it, and it'll survive a Holocaust, and it can't be damaged. I don't know that there's any food in it anymore, but that's the cleverness of all of us educated folks, right? We're not so clever. There are more unintended consequences of making decisions on your own or in a vacuum with people that think like you than you can ever imagine. We talked ourselves into doing what we did, not because we were bad people, but because we didn't collaborate, because we didn't have cross-disciplines working. We didn't have the botanists and the scientists working. We didn't have the sociologists working. So, yeah, it's preachy, but I'm passionate. I kind of learned that this is something that we all need to do without question, and that is work together, cross-discipline, heed what other people say because we're not smart enough to figure it out ourselves. I really didn't know that we were going to ruin coffee when we started increasing volume and decreasing cost. Truly, you think that I wanted to make my job harder? I didn't. I thought it was a great idea. Wow, look how much money we can make. We made money, but we lost the war. We only have less than 1% of all the product left today that's organic. So for the rest of my time on this planet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on only selling organic coffee, only selling shade-grown coffee. Why shade-grown? Because all coffee was shade-grown. If I was having this talk with you 100 years ago, you would look at me like I had 3 heads. Well, what other kind of coffee is there? Only shade-grown coffee. The plant wants between 10 and 20% photosynthetic activity. You put more than that, you put more sunlight on it than that, and it goes into shock. It goes into hyperdrive. It's like us getting, and look at me, it's like us getting on treadmills for hours and then days and then years and putting me on an IV. My body's going to burn up as much as I could use to lose weight and exercise. I dare say that I'll be in the greatest shape of my life after I die in about 8 months, right? Because I'm going to be burned out if you stay on a treadmill for that long a time. Well, that's what we're doing to the coffee plants. How do you solve this problem? Because it's a huge problem. And you're all going to be faced with a problem that seems insurmountable. Where do I go from here? Because what I know, or what I think I know, has value, but I can work with a couple of farms a year. You heard that, we're doing billions of pounds. And, a couple of farms are going to produce thousands of pounds. Wow. I won't even be able to keep up with the chopping down of the trees. I can't even reverse that as one person. So I started to look for other entities, other groups that could help me to take the message to the farmers, take the message to the coffee industry, take the message to the consumers, and start to reverse the trend. Westchester University, fine university here. You guys are purchasing some of our coffee, and you're collaborating and helping. Joey's been a big supporter, and he said that he can't miss this today. We've talked, but I dare say he doesn't know the history of why I'm doing what I'm doing today, so I'm bearing my soul here. Wadden University, another great university that's local, that's helping. So the more we get informed people to make good purchasing decisions, the easier it is for other people like Golden Valley, because there are many other roasters that would love to be making wonderful tasting product. The roasting part is the easiest part, believe it or not. It's cooking. And I don't want to discount, a chef, because I know some people that, can burn water. But after all, it's not nuclear science. It is a science nonetheless, but there's formulas to cooking. But the growing part, the agriculture, that's serious stuff. That's complicated. There is the microclimate that you have to worry about. There is the biosphere that you have to worry about. There is the biodiversity that you have to worry about. So, wow. I am really excited. This last 6 years have been so fulfilling for me, from a learning standpoint, and 2, from having an impact on certain people's lives. Let's talk about money for a second, because making money's great, but earning money's probably even better. My farmers are earning money. We deal directly with the farmers, and we pay them many multiples over what the conventional coffee market demands. You guys have probably heard of something called fair trade. Awesome stuff. Support fair trade anytime you can. because who doesn't deserve to make a fair and living wage, right? I dare say that it'd be hard to talk to anybody, any of your friends who would say, people don't deserve to make a fair and living wage. I mean, that's just, there's something wrong with your thinking if you would say that. That's kind of mean-spirited stuff. We can support a fundamental economy when we all understand the rules. We're pretty clever creatures when we understand the rules. Look what we can do. You know, we can go to the moon, Mars, so we ought to be able to figure out agriculture. Fair trade. Again, I support it. But I think that's just the starting point, guys. Fair trade is a minimum wage. And shouldn't everybody have the opportunity and the ability to make better than a minimum wage? So let's not stop at fair trade. That's absolute minimum. Let's then set up in all different sustainable activities an environment where you can create value added. Value added in a positive way that ensures a long-term sustainable activity in all the different prisms that you're going to look through, not only financial but social, environmental, biological, medical. Our farmers have a scale based on what we expect them to do. And it is complicated. I have scientists, actually Dr. Madagalski, I keep plugging him. I did a radio show yesterday, so he's from Widener, sorry guys. But he's down in Peru working on a couple of farms right now for us. So, and he'll be back in a week. He's helping us to transition properties that have been polluted from total destroyed sun-grown crops to fully organic. Again, that takes 7 to 10 years. I'm not sure I'm going to see the ones we start next year if I'll see the organic coffee come. But rest assured, it's okay. That's not scary, because if we undertake in our agriculture, if we take this barren landscape now that has been polluted and we start to manage it the way nature intended, slowly the land will recover. I assure you, I guarantee it. I am not kidding. The land will recover. It's absolutely amazing what I've seen over the last 6 years with the rich soil from hard, deadpan clay. The birds that are coming back and, that we're starting to count, the species, all the flora and the fauna, the various species of coffee tree that are starting to come back to life, which gives us all kinds of different flavors depending on the type of tree. A bourbon, pacamaras, typicas, I mean, all kinds of neat flavors, chocolates, banana-style coffee flavors. I encourage you all to come by our coffee plant and taste the coffee. Some of you already have that habit. It's always free. It's always on. We're always sampling our daily roast. So, and I'll talk forever, as you can tell, about something that, one, I care about, and two, I know a little bit about. So please stop by, especially the seniors, before you leave, because you really do need to take this message out no matter where you go. And it's a cool message. My team is really the ones that are making this happen. They believe in it. We have youngsters. We have Westchester University grad is my vice president of marketing, Erin Mariani. So pretty cool stuff. And she's been an architect. She does a lot of the graphics that you'll see here. She does the websites that I'm going to show you in a couple of seconds. How am I doing for time? We got 10 more minutes. Okay, guys. So we got to speed up. Talk to you a little bit about the Golden Valley agriculture. Giving back, but I do believe really an awful lot in the local community. And since there is no coffee other than in Hawaii, grown in the United States. What do we do locally for the community? All this wonderful, great talking stuff sounds good, but what has it done for our local community? So we're going to move from Golden Valley to the other little project, since we have 27,000 square feet of manufacturing space a couple of blocks over here that I want you guys to come and visit. I am now sharing with lots of artisans. Part of how we met these folks is my sister has been handling the sales of Golden Valley locally, and she's been doing farmers markets. She met a lot of neat entrepreneurs, artisans that are making wonderful stuff. And the problem with farmers markets, is there a problem with farmers markets? Yeah. Winter comes and it's cold outside. And I think farmers markets are like the best thing since sliced bread. So please go to them and support your local farmer, your local artisan. We have indoor facility. We have an indoor hallway where we have trucks running back and forth and forklifts and whatnot Monday through Friday. And, my sister and I were talking, and we said, geez, this place is a little dead on Saturday and Sunday. Let's open it up to an indoor farmers market through the wintertime. And we started that in December. Along with that, I opened up our building, since we're 100% USDA certified organic manufacturer. We're PA Department of Ag certified manufacturer, and we are, of course, Board of Health certified. I just kind of did that backwards because you go from small to big normally, but that was intended because I want to finish with local. The local Board of Health. They have auspices over all these little artisans, and they've been helping, along with us, to get these folks sustainable. Instead of them having to go back to their full-time jobs in late August, early September, or giving up their dream of being an entrepreneur, making the pasta, making the chocolate truffles, making the pizza, making the all-natural popsicles, and making the McDougal's Irish Victory cakes, and making the bread. And you saw the list, and there's many, many, many more. There's 2 local wineries, lots of local farms. I want to give them an arena to become sustainable and to learn what we're kind of learning as we go, and that is that it's not a world economy. It's a local economy that has an impact on the world. So, Artesian Exchange. Guys, the plug is, please, 10 to 2, every Saturday. If you're on campus and you live here, walk by. Coffee's always free. Always free. And there's samples of all kinds of wonderful stuff. Come by. We'll have an 800 to 1,000 people every Saturday. The support from the local community is absolutely amazing. I am stunned at the support. I am just as stunned at the fact that all you guys are here today listening to me drone on, and you actually haven't fallen asleep yet. So thank you for supporting local, and thank you for supporting every farmer on the planet. Don't stop, because it really, each cup of coffee makes a difference. Each tomato sauce makes a difference. It makes a difference in people's lives that you will never, ever understand. But it truly does, because it empowers them to be able to conduct a sustainable local economy. I'm going to open this up for 5 minutes of questions. I hope, since I joined on, there aren't any questions, and that you're 100% clear on this. But, yes?
Are there any large companies that sell coffee that are organic, like this Starbucks?
That's a great question, and it was. Are there any large companies that sell organic products? It's the yes and no. They try not to because there's not enough of it. 40% of all the organic products that coffee that is grown is consumed in the United States. So about 60 million pounds of organic coffee exists for our consumption. To put that into, some kind of a framework, it's a couple of months worth of volume for Dunkin' Donuts. So, you guys are pretty smart. You can do the arithmetic. Any other questions? Yes?
Have you done anything with permaculture or any of your
Permaculture?
Yeah. Have you heard of that?
Could you tell me about it?
I volunteered at Thornberry twice.
Okay. They're one of our,
Yeah, I was going to plug them and
Yeah.
hot sauce.
good plug.
That's hot.
Great stuff.
Yeah. But it's like just building, pretty much building your own forest, but using it like the tall trees would be used as lumber, and then you can build smaller, but because you have to replicate the forest.
Yes, absolutely. We're actually using the Smithsonian Institution and a couple of other universities, and the question was on the permaculture, are we helping our farmers in Central and South America to basically have a variety of products other than coffee? And the answer to that is yes. The kinds of products that you'll see are not only the products that are used for wood because you need to trim, the standing wood. That's an important thing as you get a mature forest. The other thing is we have lots of orchids growing side by side with the coffee plants, oranges, plenty of citrus, bananas, cocoa plants, plantains, other wonderful products, all in symphony. And that's one of the other reasons why we're getting lots of wonderful flavors in the coffee, because all of that goes into compost. All those drops, and wow. It's, how can you get excited about coffee? I don't know. Crazy. Any other questions? Yes?
How do you offset the carbon footprint of transporting stuff from
That's an awesome question. How do you offset the carbon footprint? Well, because we like coffee, and because I can't grow it here in Westchester, because you need, between the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn, and you need altitude. All coffee's mountain grown, by the way, guys, so don't get sucked into that marketing ploy. I have to go out of the country to go get it. But if you plant trees, and lots of trees, and we do keep track of this, we're actually doing a phenomenal amount of carbon uptake. You'll hear from some people who swear by the sun-grown coffee that those bushes uptake carbon dioxide. Well, of course they do, and produce oxygen, but not nearly at the rate of a full mature forest. Trust me, and you're going to have to trust me on this. I could have the scientists here giving you all of the charts, but we're getting 7 to 8 times the carbon uptake when you get back to a mature forest, and all the other bio benefits. Would you concur, sir? Okay. Any other questions? Yes?
You stressed a few times that it was important to use multi-disciplines.
Yes.
Well, I like that, but I don't know what it means in a specific way.
Okay, cool. I have stressed that you should use multi-disciplines, but we don't know how that is being used in a specific way. I'm going to do a plug for Fairfield University pedagogy course that Dr. Madagowski and I will be teaching on this very subject. And the interdisciplinary side is that with Widener University, the C2C program brings every college in, and each of the deans of the colleges are on the C2C committee. So we have the business school, the School of Science, the School of Communications, the School of Design and Arts, the Food Science, the Nurses School, and the Law School. Can you figure? The Law School, Widener Law. They're actually, those guys are pumped because you know how they're helping us? They're helping us to remediate new forests. They're working out and putting it in layman's terms for these small farmers what kind of guarantees we're going to give them money-wise, so that they can understand that these gringos coming down from the United States aren't just going to promise them money and then, basically rape and pillage. So we are formalizing this presentation. We're giving them a long-term guarantee of money flow as the transitional coffees grow. So not only grow in volume, but also grow in price, because each year, as there are more bioflavonoids, ketones, and our science department is doing all of the research on those, so we're actually quantifying the growth in the antioxidants that are being developed. So that's the interdisciplinary that we're seeing, and it's really neat because between Christmas and New Year's break, we had 4 students that were in the communications division that were doing YouTube presentations on one of our farms. We had 2 students that were in the science group putting down testing temperature and the microclimate. And we did have one from business school, because you only need one from business school. One more thing, because us business guys are so smart, and ladies. Before you set out to create a product and create a demand for it, figure out how much of it you got. Because the worst thing in the world to do is to create a demand for something and you don't manage it, and then you have a dilemma. How do I supply the chain? Starbucks, good example, or us with organic. When I run out of organic coffee and my volume grows, what do? Do I blend organic with non-organic? Do I say it's kind of organic? Okay, so that's the interdisciplinary side. And our scientists, our botanists are giving us projections of harvests 2 and 3 years down the road, and then the School of Business is creating marketing plans for each of the individual farms to manage the growth of the organics in a way so that it doesn't put the farmer or any of us business people who, have a tendency to cheat in the situation where we have to cheat. Okay.
You
Yes.
have a partnership with a conservation education group on campus. What is that?
Here.
Yeah.
My sister, Mary Ann, and my Vice President of Marketing, Aaron, integrate with that group, and I wish I knew the name. Joe, do you know the name of the?
Say Amazon. You got. I think you have a.
Asir.
Yeah,
Asir. Yes. And they work with Asir, and it's Roger at Asir. And that is, we're doing the Peruvian coffee for Asir. And that is for the Amazon forest. Asir, and that's part of the Westchester, was a founding member of Asir, is to do the very things that I'm talking about.
You actually have a labeled coffee.
Yes.
That when it's sold, they actually benefit.
Yes, the money goes to the Asir Foundation to pay for the folks that feet on the ground doing the hard work for reforesting. Let's not forget, a lot of our pharmaceuticals come from the Amazon. So we keep chopping those trees down. We're, destroying our future from a medical standpoint as well. We'll figure out something that somebody cares about. Yes, sir.
How many employees does your company consist of?
We're a small company. We have about 30-ish employees, but we do collaborate with an awful lot of other small businesses. So we do believe in partnership. In the Artesian Exchange, for example, we have right now 38 members. Each one of those are employers. 20 some of them are tenants in our facility. Rather than, I'm not a big believer in big, okay, the Tom Hanks big, because you will never, ever get better performance from somebody that's passionate. The best way to destroy passion is to take away authority. Best way to take away authority is to get big, because then you get policies and procedures. And not that they're good or bad, it's not me. So I believe in empowering small businesses